Okay, thanks, Little.
So anybody else going to be behind you?
No, I'm the last one.
Get your Panama City stuff on.
Yeah.
I wore my Orange Beach stuff in today.
Nice.
So, no, I appreciate y'all being here. Final big scrimmage of the preseason camp. So, we had a lot of things we had to correct from last week. From the scrimmage, and I thought we approached those things during the week. We really honed in a lot of things we had to get done from a technique, fundamental discipline. One of the biggest things today. We had 120 plays, which was right at where we wanted to get. For the second scrimmage, and today's a day where it's really important to see who are the twos, who are the threes that are going to be able to get in there and help us play winning football. And that was a big part of the scrimmage today, to be able to mix and match the twos, the ones, the threes, the twos, get different guys in there playing next to different people to see who's going to play winning football for us. And I thought we accomplished that today during the scrimmage. One of the biggest things was, last week we had 16 penalties in the scrimmage, and today we had 5. That was something we addressed really strongly during the week. Improved there. We had 20 total drives out there. The first group had 9 drives. The second group had 7, and then we had 4 with the third group. But like I said, there was a lot of mixing and matching after the first couple of drives of putting 2s with 1s and seeing different combinations, different looks of people. Because then tomorrow we'll come in and we'll sit down and we'll have some real open conversations and set the depth charts from an offensive, defensive, and special teams standpoint. And it's a good thing to be able to have more depth than we've had in the past. So they're longer conversations, tougher conversations. But end of the day, we got to find the best 11 and the next group that's going to come in to replace those guys. To this point, through 3 weeks, really 3.5 weeks at camp. Is it 3 weeks? 3.5? I don't know. It's August. We've been pretty healthy. We've got what you would imagine at this point in a tough camp. You have bumps and bruises and sprains, things like that. The big one we've had DJ Moore. I want to go ahead and let you guys know that. DJ tore his ACL last week. I believe it was last week. Or was confirmed last week. Really hate it for DJ. Somebody who's really worked hard from being a receiver, transitioning over to the defensive side, was really progressing, doing a good job on that side. Was a huge special teams contributor for us. But he's in the right frame of mind right now to work and get back and be ready to go. So, that's the big one. I'm going to go ahead and let you guys know. So he'll be out most likely for the season. So, with that, as I said, we improved on the penalties. I thought the defense came out. What I wrote down is not what I can say in here, but I thought the defense really came out and played with their hair on fire. It was very encouraging to see the energy they played with, the physicality they played with, the ability to not just stop the run, but get after the quarterback in passing downs. Transition from a run stop mode on normal downs to pass rush and still being able to affect the quarterback. So really good to see the defense respond the way they have over the course of a week. And a lot of it is some of this is to do with schematic things, but a lot of it's players. And they thought they did a good job. I thought the offense did respond after the first few drives. They responded and were able to put some balls in the end zone and connect on some big plays. I thought at the running back position, number 6 and number 27, Anthony Carey and Chad Alexander really showed up today. Chad came in last year as a walk-on, first-year walk-on. He's a 10.3, 10.400 guy. Got good speed, but was really a big special teams guy for us last year, and he's really worked hard over the last year it is at the running back spot, and he's really becoming a complete back. So that was good to see. Scooter runs hard, runs between the tackles, does a nice job. I thought both of those guys were impressive today, but story of the day was really the defense, and that being said, the defensive line. I mean, what the defensive line was able to do, rolling guys in, being able to affect the quarterback, stop the run. And I think the speed in the back end, I was really pleased to see. To see the safeties being able to close on the run, also play tight coverage. So all in all, pleased with the improvement they made on the defensive side of the football this week. Pleased the improvement we've made as an entire team. But we still have a long ways to go, and that's why I told the team when we're done, we have 2 weeks from now, we'll be in the middle of the fourth quarter, and so we've got to really focus in and to, there's only one thing, and that's to be consistent. And that's what we've talked about a lot. We were working on to be a consistent football team. And you have to be consistent in your daily habits. You have to be consistent in what you do on a day-to-day basis, day in and day out, before you ever think you can be consistent as a team week in and week out. So, there's a big difference in guys that go out there and they want to try to be great and try to, go out and be a great player, a great unit, great football team, and guys that are really committed to doing that. And you talk about the discipline, the toughness, and those things, and, the commitment's one of the 4 pillars we talk about all the time. And having these guys understand what it really means to be committed to being great. It's a big difference in go out and trying and actually being committed to doing it, day in and day out. So, with along the same lines with the defense, they had 11 TFLs, 6 sacks. Thought the defensive end spot really showed up today. Sylvain, some of the young guys, Montre Bradford, Jordan Boyd, Romello Height, and then I think Kevin Harris playing as good football as he's ever played in his career. I'm really proud of that kid, and it's just a continuation of the progress he made coming out of spring and into now. So, all in all, coming out pleased with the scrimmage, pleased with the effort, pleased with the attitude, but we still got a lot of improvements we have to make to be ready to play in 2 weeks. So,
Kelly?
I guess, losing DJ highlights being smart with your portal and adding guys. You added Jaden as a guy that's not necessarily a freshman but has a little bit of an older body. Is that where, like that, or the tight end position, losing Jackson in the spring, being able to backfill, that's where the portal really helps you guys out?
Oh, no question. I look at it no different really than the NFL. There's 2 philosophies. You either build your team in the National Football League, you build it through the draft and supplement through free agency, or you lean a little heavier towards the free agency part of it. And it's no different in college now. You have the high school recruiting part of it, and then you have the acquisition through transfers, and which is really collegiate free agency, for lack of a better word. But the way they can move, and I think when you look at the teams in the NFL that we study, and that I've studied a lot over the last couple of years. The guys have done a really good job in the draft. I think one that comes to mind right now over the course of the last, and you've seen it over the last 3 or 4 years, is really the Detroit Lions. They've done a great job in the draft. Drafting guys in the front, the O-line, D-line, running back positions. They've also supplemented through free agency and been able to get guys in there that fit them, and you've seen the improvement they've made. But the Chiefs, the 49ers, the Eagles, forever, was the Patriots and how they did things. So. It's been able to help us, and I think you see a lot more depth on the football team because of it.
Rob?
You talked about the progress of the defensive line. How important has it been to get to the point where across the board, you have guys that have been here 4 or 5 years, have the experience, and are assuming leadership roles up front? Has that made the big difference for you up there, do you think?
Well, it's kind of like the last question about the portal. You're addressing needs you have in the portal. You're addressing those needs to come in and be immediate factors for you. And they might not be, the first play of the game starter, but they're guys that can come in and be factors. And for us to be able to roll guys in on the defensive line, have guys fresh, a lot of the impact on that side of the ball are guys that have transferred in. But it's also, we have guys that are true freshmen out there. So. Hand in hand, you can't point it to one over the other as far as a 4th or 5th year guy. You want a guy that's been a 4th year guy, a 5th year guy to be able to have some experience and leadership in the program. But look, I don't care if you're a freshman or a senior. I don't care if you're a 1st year transfer or 3rd year. Everyone here is held to the same standard. Right? Everyone, it's not, he just got here. He's a freshman. Everyone's held to the same standard. That's whether it's from playing, from leadership, from effort, all those things. So my expectation is that everyone comes out there and really feeds off each other, and it's been a good combination to this point of that.
Going back to the running back position when the season starts, how do you balance sort of Jamal's load? Do you just let him go as long as he wants? Are there metrics involved? How do you look at that?
He's a fire plug. That dude he's like the Energizer Bunny. He can go all day. I think I've told you guys before, he'd be on the sideline last year, and he'd jump in and tell whoever was on kickoff, right before we went out on the field, get out, because he wanted to go. So you have to watch him real close to make sure he's not trying to jump in to get more plays. But today was the day to see who was going to be there with him. All right, and that's why we had a few guys that we were able to really sit out today to see the other guys. And it's not, look, Jamal's a really good football player, right? But we also know running backs. Very quickly you can be the 2nd, 3rd fourth guy, fifth guy even in a game. So we had to see those guys today and see what they could do running behind, the first and second offensive line and running against the first and second defense. So it's been a work in progress to this point. I think Norv does a tremendous job with those guys of developing them, coaching them hard, holding them to a standard. And it's good today to see, because up to this point today, it was really by committee. We hadn't, but I think we're going to be able to come in tomorrow and really start put some solidification on who's behind Jamal.
You've been very complimentary of the defensive line over the past couple weeks. Would you say it's fair to characterize them as ahead of the other defensive units, or it's just how good they've been?
No, I think it's not at all. I don't think anyone's ahead of anybody. I think we all understand that we have a long way to go. I don't think anybody's leading this race by any means. All you got to do is turn the tape on and watch it. And if you're truly being honest with yourself, and the players are being honest, and the coaches are being honest, which they all are, there's no one that thinks that they're out ahead of anybody. I think I've been complimentary of them because that's probably the position that's had the most influx of new guys, whether it be freshmen or transfers. And let's be honest now. I mean, we got a pretty good offensive line here, and they've been punched in the mouth. I mean, these guys have been punched in the mouth for the last 3 weeks, and it's pretty good to see. It's been really good to see.
So you get the benefit for once of not having the cap on the week because school starts on Monday, a week from Monday. So so you actually have uncapped week, and normally school starts a little bit sooner than some other places, so you guys are capped out and have that first week of game. So how much does it benefit, and also does it maybe change how you set up, your two deep and stuff? If there are still some questions, maybe you can fill that out a little more this coming week.
So kind of the latter part of that question, we're gonna hole up in there. I mean, everyone's gonna watch the film throughout the night tonight, in the morning. We're gonna hole up tomorrow and go through this thing, but it's not gonna be completely black and white as we go through it tomorrow. There's going to still be questions. There's going to be guys that are kind of neck and neck. We have to make decisions. But because of the next week, look, we're not going to go out and practice more than we normally would, but it does give us a little more time as coaches to make these decisions and see some of these things. But look, this isn't something we're going to let drag on out and have this by committee at every position. Right, 11 guys start the game on both sides of the ball. 11 guys are on the kickoff team or the kickoff return team, and we got to come in and make a decision on who those guys are. Right, are there one-offs here and there? Right, that's a good thing usually. That guys are pushing each other, but we got game planning to do. We have work to do as coaches. We've got time with them next week, but also gives us time to get together as a staff and game plan. In order to game plan, you got to know who your two deep are going to be, who your guys on in all three phases are. So we can't let this hang over our heads and go into next week and the next or whatnot. I mean, we're in game planning as coaches. I mean, we have Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday on the field practicing, mandatory off day, and we're in Florida State now. So we're going to come in tomorrow. And like I said, hard conversations, hard talks. Look at everybody's got to be willing to look themselves in the mirror and do what's best for the Georgia Tech football team.
When you're talking about still having maybe some decisions to make on certain positions, the offensive line has a lot of good young talent. Is that one of the areas where you're going to have to take a close look, as far as who you like as backups, or is that something you've already determined?
Do you even just tell you the depth chart?
No.
You tell you who the ones and
Still
two.
decisions being made there.
There's a lot of good players there. That a lot of them are young. Like I said, we'll come in tomorrow. We'll hammer it out. There might be one-offs here and there, but I don't want any gray leaving this building on Sunday night.
I'll take that depth chart if you want to give it to me.
Okay, I'll have it to you tonight.
Thanks. Has there been one thing or a few things that stood out to you about this team so far? Like, man, I really like that about this.
Yeah, there is. We have a good football team. We do. Now, how we are in relation to our competition, I don't know. That's why you play the games. Have we made improvement? Yeah, we made improvement. We've challenged these guys every single day, right? And it has not been a day go by that they have not answered the challenge as a team. Now, offense might have success 1 point, defense might have success 1 point, back and forth, but there has not been a day like most coaches are accustomed to where these guys have come out and it's, I don't know if I can do this again. It hadn't happened. So they've answered that challenge without me even having to say anything to them. That's something I haven't been a part of. It's a special group that can go out and do that, right? But we all know too, adversity and obstacles are also what create the character and the toughness and the mental capacity that you have to play an entire football game. So whereas those obstacles and those challenges might not have occurred all together on the same day, all right, individually, separately, they have. Okay, so I know, Tooch has handled that on the defensive side, Buster on the offense. When they've occurred, but it hadn't been, one group that it's all come out. And when that happens, when the whole team comes out, look, that's where I've got to look myself in the mirror. That starts with me, right? I'm the head coach. Right, how I affect the assistant coaches, the coordinators, the position coaches, then in turn to affect their players every day. That's where that starts. We hadn't seen that in terms of a team having just a tired mindset or the wrong mindset from the start of the day. All right, so now is that to say everybody walks in the building every morning, rip and roaring to go? No, but the impact and the influence of the others then elevate those guys and get them in the right frame of mind to go. So that's where I've been really pleased at with this football team.
Anything else? Kelly?
With the return game, how far along are you guys in terms of just figuring that out and who you want back there? I know you had Rod do some stuff last year, but it's kind of, and you have Larry back, but I know that Ricky said he wanted to see some competition there.
Yeah, we do. That's actually I actually was working on it last night, looking at going through the depth charts. That's one of the first things we'll address tomorrow. We've got some viable guys that can return both sides, and you work your returners way before you start to work your the entire team, return teams, whether punt return or kickoff return. Because the number one thing, you better secure the football, right? You better secure the football, not put the ball on the ground. Then it becomes who can help us gain first downs without the offense being on the field. Who can get positive field position? Who can affect the field position in a game with their return ability? But first thing is who's going to hold on to the football. Last year with Dom, he was a very sure-handed guy that we knew that ball was going to be secured. Anything he got after that was a plus. So, yeah, you mentioned Rodney. Rodney's dynamic. He is. And he's done a really good job of, fielding the ball. But we got other guys too. Malik and Eric. We got a ton of guys that can return. So we'll start solidifying that down. We'll have 3 guys we start repping on Monday at the punt return spot, and we'll have really 4 guys we start repping at the kickoff return spot.
Anything else?
2 guys, one that we didn't get to see a lot of early on in camp in spring ball, and then a freshman that came in. I was curious about EJ and how Tajay are doing at the linebacker spots. Those are 2 guys with some real dynamic physical abilities and how they're developing.
Yeah, both of them. You can tell both of them it's their first time during spring. It was their first time in a new defense, learning a new defense. Tooch is very demanding on those guys. Holds them to an extremely high standard. I think if you ask him, I don't think he'll ever say that he's pleased with the work they do on a day-to-day basis. That doesn't mean he's down on them either. Right? It's just the standard that he holds everyone to, and that's what I love is for people on the staff. That's why he's been such a great fit here from the time he walked through the door. His standard is the same as mine. It's the same as the offensive coaches. It's the same across the board, and he expects perfection. Right? Expects those guys to be perfect out there. We all know that's not going to happen, but what's the old saying? You shoot for perfection, you're going to land at excellence, majority of the time, and that's what we're trying to do, and that's the standard he holds those guys to. They're going to be good football players. I'm excited to actually watch the film tonight and see those guys. That was one of the position groups we mixed and matched some of the guys with the 2s with the 1s, 3s with the 2s, and I'm excited to see how those guys did. Some runs up the middle that I think we probably should have had a hat on. So we'll look at the gaps and how they're fitting the gaps from that side of the ball. Are they coming up and pulling the double teams off the offensive line? There was also enough that were flat walled at the line of scrimmage where those guys were making plays in the box, but also had the range to make plays out in space. So improvement there from those guys from the week before. But until we watch the tape and really able to pencil those guys into the spots they need to be. But I've been pleased with the progression of those guys I have.
Nothing else?
That's it. All right. Thanks, guys. Go Jackets. You walked right in.